Who do you think of when you think of the word rapper? You might think of somebody like Tupac, somebody covered in tattoos with a large gold chain around his neck. Maybe you think of somebody from NWA, somebody who, before they were a rapper, they were a gang member. And you wouldn't necessarily be wrong to think of this, because back in the 1990s, gangster rap dominated the genre. This was a very hardcore style that emphasized the importance of a thug-like image and gained criticism for glorifying violence, both inside and outside of the music. Now, when you think of a rapper, you probably don't think of a guy in a sweater. This is Kanye West, and he is an alternative rapper. Alternative rappers do not stress that hardcore image. They are also more experimental and more emotional than gangster rappers. Alternative rap can trace its success back to the mid-90s, with the Atlanta-based rap group Outkast. Now, in a time when hip-hop was dominated between East Coast and West Coast rivalry, no one thought an alternative rap group from the South would ever be successful. But when they started to drop their albums, something happened. Those albums started to go platinum and won them many Grammys. For a time, Outkast was the only successful alternative rap group, both critically and commercially, until Kanye West came along. Now, like Outkast, many people thought Kanye would be unsuccessful. They considered him more of a producer than a rapper, and they thought that his debut album, The College Dropout, would surely flop. But that album did not flop. It ended up going double platinum and winning him a number of Grammys, including Best Rap Album of the Year. But even after all the success of Kanye and Outkast, gangsta rap still remained the dominant form of the genre, until 2007, when 50 Cent and Kanye West went in an all-out sales battle. Both artists were going to release their albums on the same day, and whichever artist sold the most amount of copies would be crowned the king of hip-hop. Now, a week after sales, Kanye West had outsold 50 Cent by almost 300,000 copies. This was huge. No one ever thought Kanye would outsell 50 Cent, let alone by that significant of a margin. For the first time ever, alternative rap had cemented its dominance over the genre, and artists such as Kanye, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole still continue to exert influence over the genre to this day. Now, why did all these albums go platinum? And it comes down to the fact that the emotion is more relatable. People can relate more to alternative rappers than they can to gangster rappers. People can relate more to Drake rapping about a breakup or Kanye rapping about wanting to drop out of college than Eazy-E rapping about selling drugs. It's a more relatable approach and it's more mainstream. And while going more emotional helped them become more commercially successful, going more experimental helped them become more critically successful. Albums like 808s and Heartbreaks by Kanye West and To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar merged unorthodox genres of rap, such as jazz in the case of 808s, or techno in the case of 808s, and jazz as in the case of To Pimp a Butterfly. Both these albums are deemed classics by many critics. Similarly, Speakerboxxx and The Love Below is the only rap album to ever win Album of the Year at the Grammys. It pushed the boundaries of hip-hop so much that people were actually debating whether or not it could be called hip-hop. In fact, its hit single, Hey Ya, wasn't even nominated in a hip-hop category. Now, why is this important? And it's important for three reasons. Firstly, it shows that rap is truly an art form. There is room for experimentation, there is room for emotion, and there is room for social commentary. Secondly, it shows that rap is a self-sustaining genre. There is enough diversity in the genre for progression, and rap isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And lastly, it can provide insight into the next big shift of the genre, which currently looks like trap music. Now, trap music, like gangster rap, is a very hardcore style, with many references to drug use and street culture. This asks the question, is dominance in hip-hop like a pendulum, swinging from one side to a hardcore style, and to the other to a more emotional alternative style? What does this mean for the stigma against rap? Will rap, if the stigma that rappers are somehow violent and criminal, will that stigma persist? And if it does, will rap ever truly be accepted as an art form? And will that stigma eventually lead to the downfall of the genre as a whole? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have the answers to these questions. But all we can do is sit back, relax, and watch it all unfold beneath our eyes. Thank you.